The gospel today would lead us to reflect on our own lives being in a boat, that we would need the help of someone beyond ourselves, right? In our life here on earth, we will be like those disciples, those apostles on that boat being tossed over by the strong wind, by the waves. And we would really pray, right? For us who know that prayer plays a big role in our lives as believers, as followers of Christ, as believers of God. We know that prayer matters most. At the beginning of the gospel, of today's gospel, St. Matthew tells us that Jesus went up into the hills by himself to pray. He had just finished a very long day teaching the crowds, healing the sick, and performing the miracle of the multiplication of the loaves. And at the beginning of that day, he had received the news about John the Baptist's death. And at that time, he had wanted to go off alone to reflect, pray, mourn the loss of that great prophet who was also Christ's cousin. Imagine that. His family. John is family by blood to Jesus. But the crowds would not let him. But now we see that although he delayed his time of prayer out of compassion for the crowds, he did not skip it altogether, even though he must have been exhausted. Now, as the sun sets, he climbs up the mountain to pray. And he does not appear again until about 3 o'clock in the morning. 6 hours later. We know from other gospel passages that Jesus frequently went off alone to pray. So aren't you wondering? Isn't that strange? Jesus is God, right? Why would he need to pray? Isn't that strange? Don't you wonder? Jesus was God, true God from true God, as we profess in the Creed. So why would he have to dedicate large chunks of time to pray? Because he was also true man. The Word made flesh, born of the Virgin Mary. Jesus had two natures, divine and human. And because he was human, he needed to pray. As the Catechism tells us, man was created to live in communion with God, in whom he finds happiness. And no one can have communion with God without a life of prayer. That is why Jesus prays. Today, Jesus is teaching us to keep first things first. If he who is the Son of God needed time alone in prayer, only an arrogant fool would claim not to need some time to pray. We need to find times of silence to reconnect with the source of everything, who is God himself. Because as human beings, we are made to commune with our Creator. Now, what can we do to keep our prayer life in shape so that we can grow into mature, wise, and joyful Christians? We need to follow Christ's example. And if we go back to the first reading, we can follow the example of Elijah as well. We need to make time in our busy schedules to go up to the mountain. Go up to the mountain, leaving behind the hustle bustle in order to spend time alone with God, to be able to hear the tiny whispering sound of His voice, to renew our strength, to find out what He wants to say to us. Two things. We can find a day or more than a day, 2 or 3 days, that is solely dedicated to that. Retreat, prayer. Here in our parish, we have those opportunities actually. Many opportunities. You just have to find which day would work for you. And if nothing in this parish would work for you, we are gifted with easy transportation here in the country, that we can go to other places to join other believers to spend a day at least for prayer, like a dedicated day for prayer. Then the second thing is daily. And it doesn't, you don't need like a long time. You just need, at the beginning of the day, for example, 5 to 10 minutes to be aware of God's presence. And before sleeping, another 5 to 10 minutes. And if we are able to do that, it will naturally flow to our whole day actually. That even if you are doing something during the day, because of the awareness of God's presence, you started the day with it a few minutes, and end the day with few minutes, it will naturally flow to your whole day. That whatever you do, you are constantly aware of God's presence with you. Dedicating everything that you do, knowing that God is there, not even just watching you, but doing it with you. Being aware that all the things, all the grace of strength that you use for accomplishing all these things is coming from the Lord Himself. I know those who are already in the practice would be able to say, yeah, I've done that. But if we stopped, it will be like a little challenge again. But it's life. Right? It's a process. And don't ever give up, because the Lord doesn't give up on us. Amen? Prayer matters most because prayer deepens our communion with God. And our communion with God is the only source of lasting happiness, wisdom, and joy for us and for those around us.
Thank you for joining us today. Our digital ministry provides a valuable service to parishioners and visitors alike. Daily and Sunday Mass, funerals, weddings, and fireside chats, among other things, can be seen locally, throughout the country, and even the world, in real time or at one's convenience. If you would like to support this effort, please go to olphglenview.org. Click on the gold Donate button and then the Sunday Giving icon to make a contribution on our secure online giving portal. We sincerely appreciate your past and ongoing support. Thank you for helping us continue this ministry. God bless.